thank you for having me back again this year to talk about OpenIntent. Appreciate being able to share my passion with you guys. So I was on this stage a year ago announcing OpenIntent, and I kind of wanted to give a little brief update of where the project is. For those of you who didn't see that, OpenIntent is a community-driven schema, and the idea is all of us spend an enormous amount of time in design tools, in Ekahau, Hamina, IBWave, the list goes on, and getting that data out of those tools is not a great place. And so OpenIntent is basically a community-defined schema. Here's how we represent our design data to get it out and into other systems. Okay, that gives us some things. It gives us design tool optionality. I love this. Pick the right tool for the right job. You know, if you have if you use NetSpot and you are doing a stadium, it's probably not the right tool for the right job. Not to pick on them, they have a place, but if all of your tooling is invested in that ecosystem, you may want to try to branch out, but that's hard, especially since all of your tools to rip all the NetSpot data apart is to their specific format. So giving you design tool optionality, you can pick a different tool for a different job and not necessarily have to start over on your automation or data integration journey. It is model-driven, meaning that we have a defined model of what the data that comes out of one of these tools should look like. And it provides a kind of a programmatic interface so that if I design a tool that needs to read from design data, I don't necessarily care where it came from. I write my code to the schema, and I don't necessarily worry about where that came from. So highlights from 2023. I stood on the stage and said, we're going to start in March. We started in March. We immediately changed course. I had some very good feedback from the folks who did OpenConfig, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about using Yang, and they're like, please don't use Yang unless you absolutely have to. So on their advice, we did pivot to using JSON schema. We did release model version 1.0, so we have working models, yay. And we've had a tremendous amount of help from members of the community. Brian Ward, Francois, Joel Crane, and a lot of others have been coming and participating. We've had 4 RF tooling vendors show up to at least one meeting. We have had 4 infrastructure vendors, and we've had 15 non-vendor and also non-Google participants in these meetings. And we've hosted 33 community meetings in 2023, more so this year. Okay, so demo time. So I'm going to use Hamina. This is just the one I had code readily available for. This is a generic floor plan I found on the internet. We're going to move some APs around, and I want to take this data and do something with it. Unfortunately, we don't have an API, but we do have a way to get some data out of Hamina, which is copy-paste. So if you copy all of your things and paste them into a text file and save that, we now have the AP placement data from that. Now actually we're just going to run all of this. We've placed that into a file. I'm going to load that file, and if all is right with the world, I will actually be able to revisualize all of this onto the floor plan because I now have a standard format. If you want to see what that format looks like, we have it right here. You can see, well, maybe you can't see. Let's make this bigger. That we have, coordinates, X and Y. We have our vendors. This is an Aruba 655. We have the radio details. And this is all validated via the schema, right? So we don't necessarily worry about what tool this came out of. If I write to the schema for my automation stuff, I can use any RF tool that can produce this. So where does that leave us? So the tool I just showed is yet to be published, hopefully next week when I get home. But that's what we call third-party support, right? I have a script that will generate OpenIntent data from this one case, it's Hamina. There are some other third parties in development. I'm currently working on Ekahau and NetSpot, unfortunately. But Yeah. So what can you do to help? There's one on this list. If you are with a RF tool vendor or an AP vendor, and you are interested in like integrating to some of the RF tool vendors without writing a whole bunch of custom code, come talk to me. If you are an automation person, this is a good project to get in on because it gives you a lot of flexibility about where your designs come from. If you're interested, ask your RF tooling vendor when they are going to support. Beat them up. Help us improve the model. If you have a tool that is not on the list of stuff that we have today or are planning to, you can write a third-party plugin for it. And also, you can find all the model details at GitHub. The link is on the screen. Yeah. So some frequently asked questions. Is this part of OpenConfig? No, that's Mike's thing. This is just something to get data out of our design tool. And I work for Google, so I am required to have them host it, which is why it's under the Google GitHub. But this is a project that has been on my mind for, like a decade. So I will end early. If you do have questions, I will not take them now because Keith said no. Nope.
So how about a challenge for all the RF tool providers? So we promised to support this by the end of second half. How about that? End of first half this year. We will support this. What about the other vendors? Are you game? End of this half.
All right. So just so you're aware, you see, this is my video. You can't have them not publish it if you try change your mind on this. But yeah, I do encourage for those of you who do either import maps or export maps, reach out to me. Happy to help. If you need stuff to get started on this journey, also happy to help. We do 2 calls every 2 weeks, one in the morning, Mountain Time, and one in the afternoon Mountain Time. So if you're in APAC, the afternoon one works. One of those works for APAC and one works for EMEA. I can't remember which is which, but yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy WLPC.